Chosen one, God is about to send unexpected wealth your way. Chosen one, listen closely with an open and humble heart, because what is unfolding around your life in this very season carries a weight of glory that you cannot afford to ignore. And if you turn away now, you may miss the very moment that heaven has appointed to shift your story forever. God is about to release unexpected wealth into your hands. And this wealth is not only about money, but about divine provision, restored opportunities, healed relationships, and doors opening where walls once stood firm and cold. There is a movement happening in the spiritual realm that is aligning people, resources, favor, and timing in ways you could never arrange on your own strength or wisdom. Type Amen if you believe. You have walked through seasons of quiet endurance, nights of silent tears, and days when you felt overlooked and underestimated. Yet through it all, the hand of God has remained steady upon your life, guarding you from dangers you never saw and protecting seeds you planted in faith. This unexpected wealth is not a random event or a coincidence drifting through your timeline, but a carefully prepared blessing that has been shaped through every trial you survived and every prayer you whispered when no one else understood your struggle. Heaven has not forgotten your generosity, your obedience, or your refusal to give up when giving up seemed easier than believing for more. There is a reason your spirit feels stirred and your heart feels awakened right now, because God is preparing you to step into increase that will surprise even those who doubted your path and misunderstood your quiet strength. This is the moment to lean in with expectation and gratitude, because divine provision often arrives suddenly after long seasons of waiting and unseen preparation. If this word is touching your heart and giving you hope, take a second to like this video as a simple act of faith that you are ready to receive what God is about to release into your life. Unexpected wealth from God carries peace with it, not anxiety. And it brings clarity instead of confusion, because what He gives does not add sorrow, but brings stability and purpose into every area it touches. You may have experienced financial lack, emotional drought, or seasons where every effort seemed to return empty. Yet those seasons were shaping your character so that you could handle abundance with humility and wisdom. God does not send increase into hands that are unprepared. And the very delays that once frustrated you are actually divine training grounds for stewardship and gratitude. The wealth that is coming is aligned with your calling, and it will not distract you from your purpose, but strengthen your ability to walk in it fully. Type 11 if you trust in God. There were moments when you questioned whether your sacrifices were seen, whether your faithfulness mattered, and whether your quiet obedience made any difference in a loud and demanding world. Yet God was writing a story behind the scenes that required patience before manifestation. He was removing hidden obstacles, redirecting harmful connections, and preserving opportunities that would bloom at the exact appointed time. What felt like rejection was often redirection, and what felt like loss was often protection from paths that would have drained your future. Now the same God who carried you through scarcity is preparing to introduce you to surplus that will not corrupt your heart, but deepen your gratitude. This unexpected wealth may come through a new opportunity, a creative idea that prospers, a connection that opens a door, or a sudden turnaround in circumstances that once seemed permanently stuck. Yet, however it arrives, you will recognize the fingerprint of God upon it. It will feel different from past chances that brought stress and uncertainty, because this time there will be a quiet assurance in your spirit that says this is ordained and blessed. You will sense alignment instead of striving and peace, instead of pressure, because divine increase flows with grace rather than force. The blessing will not only change your bank account, but transform your confidence, reminding you that you are deeply loved and intentionally chosen. God is not sending wealth to elevate your ego, but to expand your impact, because what He places in your hands is meant to flow through you into the lives of others who are praying for relief and breakthrough. You will become a channel of generosity, a source of encouragement, and a living testimony that faithfulness through hardship is never wasted in the kingdom of God. The increase will allow you to support dreams, bless your family, and stand firm without fear when unexpected expenses arise. This is restoration for seasons where you felt behind, overlooked, or delayed while others seemed to advance ahead of you. The path that led you here was not accidental, and every closed door that once hurt your heart was guiding you toward a greater and more secure future than you could have imagined at the time. God saw the times you gave even when you had little, the moments you encouraged others while carrying your own hidden burdens, and the days you chose integrity over shortcuts that might have brought quick gain but long regret. Because of that faithfulness, He is about to entrust you with resources that reflect His trust in your heart. This wealth will not own you because you have learned to depend on God rather than on possessions. Hold your heart steady and your spirit open, because when the blessing arrives, it may feel overwhelming at first, like a sudden sunrise after a long night of darkness. Yet it will confirm that every tear and every prayer was part of a greater design. God often prepares the ground long before the harvest appears, softening hearts, aligning conversations, and positioning you exactly where favor can find you without strain or struggle. What once felt delayed is now being accelerated by unseen hands. And what once seemed distant is being drawn near with purpose and precision. The wealth that is coming will not crash into your life with chaos, but it will unfold with a steady rhythm that confirms God Himself is leading the way. There will be moments when you look back and realize that certain disappointments were necessary closures because they prevented you from attaching your hope to sources that could never sustain you long term. God was protecting your future stability by allowing temporary discomfort, and He was teaching you that true security flows from Him rather than from unstable systems or unreliable people. This new season will carry a different atmosphere, one filled with assurance rather than fear and confidence rather than desperation. The unexpected wealth will feel like a gentle but powerful confirmation that your obedience during hidden seasons has not been overlooked. You have grown stronger in ways you did not even notice because trials refined your patience and stretched your faith beyond comfort. There were nights when you felt tired of believing, yet you continued trusting God even when visible results were nowhere in sight. That quiet endurance became spiritual capital stored up in heaven's account, waiting for the appointed time of release. Now the return on that faith is approaching, and it will overflow in ways that restore your sense of dignity and hope. The wealth that is coming will not isolate you from others, but it will position you to bless and uplift those who once stood beside you during your difficult days. God is shaping you into a wise steward, someone who understands that prosperity is not only about possession, but about purpose. You will feel a new desire to use what you receive to create stability for your household and encouragement for your community. Type 2323 if you agree. This agreement is not about hype or excitement alone, but about aligning your heart with the truth that God delights in rewarding faithful trust. As resources begin to flow, you will sense a deeper responsibility to manage them with wisdom, because divine increase carries divine accountability. The same humility that carried you through lack must remain present in abundance, ensuring that gratitude never fades into pride. God is not just increasing your income, but enlarging your capacity to handle responsibility with grace. There may be a moment when the blessing arrives so suddenly that it feels almost unreal, as if the weight of previous struggle dissolves in a single breakthrough. Do not allow doubt to whisper that it is too good to last, because what God establishes is sustained by His power rather than by human effort alone. Receive it calmly, steward it carefully, and remember that this provision is evidence of a loving Father who has watched over you through every chapter. Your story is being rewritten with stability, replacing uncertainty, and confidence replacing hesitation. This season will also bring emotional wealth, a richness of peace that quiets old fears and heals wounds created by past financial strain. When money is tight, the heart often carries hidden anxiety. Yet, God is lifting that burden and replacing it with assurance that you are supported and guided. The unexpected wealth will restore more than numbers in an account, because it will restore your ability to plan without fear and dream without restraint. You will find yourself thinking differently about the future, no longer shrinking your hopes to match your previous limitations. Relationships may shift as well, because increase often reveals true intentions and real loyalties. Some people will celebrate your blessing with genuine joy, while others may struggle to understand your transformation. Remain grounded in love and do not allow bitterness or pride to take root, because the heart that stays soft remains aligned with God's purpose. True wealth includes emotional maturity, and God is cultivating that maturity within you so that your rise remains graceful. There will be opportunities that require courage, invitations that stretch you beyond what feels comfortable, and decisions that test your readiness to step into larger spaces. Do not shrink back when these moments appear, because they are part of the pathway through which unexpected wealth flows into your life. Courage will act as the bridge between promise and fulfillment, and your faith will act as the foundation beneath every bold step. God is not pushing you into danger, but guiding you into expansion that reflects your true potential. As you move forward, keep your gratitude active and your heart attentive to the gentle guidance of the Holy Spirit. Prosperity without guidance can lead to confusion, but prosperity with divine direction leads to stability and lasting impact. You will notice that certain ideas come with clarity and peace, while others feel rushed or pressured. And learning to discern this difference will protect your increase. The wealth from God carries alignment, and alignment carries lasting fruit. There will also be a deeper awareness of how far you have come, and gratitude will rise naturally as you remember the days when even small expenses felt overwhelming. God has walked with you through every stage, and this new chapter is a continuation of that faithful companionship. You are not stepping into wealth alone, because the same presence that sustained you in scarcity will guide you in surplus. That steady presence is your greatest treasure, ensuring that material blessings never replace spiritual grounding. With each step into greater provision, continue to cultivate generosity as a lifestyle rather than an occasional act. The more freely you give with wisdom and compassion, the more you reflect the heart of Christ in your daily life. This generosity will not diminish your resources, because God multiplies what flows through open hands rooted in love. Type yes to affirm. Affirmation is a declaration that you are ready not only to receive, but also to steward wisely and share generously. The wealth coming your way is unexpected to you, but it has always been part of God's design for your journey. You are chosen not because of perfection, but because of persistent faith and a heart that refused to turn away during storms. Now the season of visible reward is approaching, and it will reveal that heaven's timing has always been precise. Continue walking with humility, anchored in prayer, and guided by love. Because this increase is not the end of your story, but the beginning of a wider influence and deeper joy. Your life is expanding in ways that reflect God's goodness, and every blessing carries the signature of His care. Stay steady, remain grateful, and embrace the abundance with a heart that remembers where it all began. There is a deeper layer to this unexpected wealth that God is preparing to release into your life, and it reaches far beyond visible resources or financial stability, because it touches the inner places of your heart where confidence, identity, and courage have quietly been growing through every challenge you endured. God is not only changing your circumstances, but He is also strengthening your sense of worth, so that when abundance arrives, you will not feel small or undeserving, but steady and secure in His love. The years that seemed slow were forming roots beneath the surface, and now those roots are strong enough to support growth that will be visible to everyone around you. What is coming will not feel like a fragile gift that could disappear overnight, but like a planted tree that stands firm even when winds attempt to shake it. In the past, you may have struggled with feelings of limitation, wondering if your background, your mistakes, or your lack of connections would hold you back from ever experiencing true increase. God has been quietly rewriting that belief system, replacing insecurity with assurance and fear, with trust that He is your ultimate source. When unexpected wealth flows into your life, it will break old mental chains that once told you to expect less and settle for survival rather than abundance. You will begin to think differently about what is possible, not because pride has entered your heart, but because faith has expanded your vision. There will be a moment of realization when you understand that this blessing is not simply about personal comfort, but about fulfilling assignments that once felt out of reach due to limited resources. Dreams that were paused will awaken again with new strength, and plans that seemed unrealistic will begin to look achievable through God's provision. This is how heaven restores hope, by placing tangible support behind the desires that were planted in your spirit long ago. Type 2020 to claim miracles. Claiming miracles is not about demanding from God, but about aligning your expectation with His generosity and timing. The wealth He sends carries the fragrance of purpose, and you will notice that it connects directly to areas where you have long desired to make a difference. Perhaps there were times when you wished you could help someone more deeply, invest in a meaningful project, or create stability for your family without constant worry. God has heard those quiet desires, and He is preparing to answer them in ways that feel both surprising and perfectly suited to your life. As this season unfolds, you will notice that your prayers begin to shift from desperation to gratitude, because what once felt uncertain will now feel supported by visible evidence of God's faithfulness. Gratitude will become your natural response, not because everything is perfect, but because you can see clearly how far you have been carried. This gratitude will protect your heart from pride and keep you grounded in humility, ensuring that wealth remains a blessing rather than a distraction. When gratitude leads, wisdom follows closely behind. Unexpected wealth can sometimes bring attention from others, and you may find that people begin to look at you differently as your circumstances improve. Some will celebrate sincerely, while others may struggle quietly with comparison or misunderstanding. Guard your heart carefully, responding with kindness and steadiness, because the character you display during increase will speak louder than the resources themselves. God is not only blessing you with provision, but also giving you the opportunity to reflect Christ's humility in visible ways. There may also be opportunities to invest in your own growth, whether through learning, creating, or stepping into leadership roles that once felt intimidating. Do not shrink back from these invitations, because they are part of the expansion that God is orchestrating around you. The wealth coming into your hands is designed to empower you, not to confine you within comfort. You will feel a new boldness rising within your spirit, a quiet confidence that you are equipped for more, because God is walking with you every step. In moments of reflection, you will remember the times when even small victories felt significant, and you will see clearly how those small victories were stepping stones towards something greater. Nothing was wasted, not even the delays that once frustrated you, because each experience sharpened your discernment and strengthened your patience. Now those qualities will help you navigate abundance with balance and foresight. True prosperity includes wisdom, and wisdom grows through both lack and overflow. God is also preparing your heart to handle generosity at a higher level, because wealth that flows only inward can become stagnant, but wealth that flows outward remains vibrant and alive. You will find joy in giving, not from obligation, but from genuine compassion shaped by your own memories of struggle. This generosity will create ripples of blessing that extend far beyond what you can see, touching lives in quiet and powerful ways. In this way, your unexpected wealth becomes part of a larger story of restoration and hope. There may be days when you feel overwhelmed by the speed of change, because what once seemed distant is now unfolding quickly before your eyes. When those feelings arise, pause and remember that the same God who guided you through slow seasons is guiding you through swift ones. Stability does not come from how fast things move, but from who is leading the movement. Rest in the assurance that nothing arriving in this season has escaped divine oversight. You will begin to sense a deeper peace settling into your home and your heart, because financial strain often creates hidden tension that affects many areas of life. As that strain lifts, space will open for joy, creativity, and connection to grow more freely. Conversations will feel lighter, decisions will feel clearer, and the future will no longer seem like a narrow path filled with obstacles. Instead, it will feel like an open horizon shaped by hope and guided by faith. Throughout this transformation, continue nurturing your relationship with God, because His presence remains your greatest treasure regardless of material increase. Spend time in quiet reflection, offering thanks and seeking guidance so that every step remains aligned with His will. Wealth without intimacy with God can feel empty, but wealth accompanied by closeness to Him feels deeply fulfilling and secure. Type 1212. If you walk by faith. Walking by faith means trusting that what is happening now is part of a larger design that extends beyond your immediate understanding. It means believing that unexpected wealth is not an accident, but a manifestation of promises nurtured through perseverance. Your faith has carried you this far, and it will continue to guide you through every new level of responsibility and opportunity. There is beauty in knowing that your journey is not random, but intentionally crafted by a loving Father. As you move forward, keep your heart soft and your hands open, because the blessings coming your way are meant to be received with gratitude and shared with wisdom. Do not fear losing what God has given, because what He establishes is supported by His strength, rather than by fragile human systems. Confidence will replace anxiety, and expectation will replace doubt as you witness tangible proof of divine provision unfolding around you. God saw the humility in those moments, and He stored every tear and every silent prayer as seeds waiting for a future harvest. Now that harvest is forming, and it will restore not only your stability, but also your sense of worth and confidence. When wealth arrives from God, it does not shout or boast, but it settles gently into your life like a steady light that removes the shadows of fear and uncertainty. You will notice that your decisions become calmer because you are no longer pressured by constant financial strain. Peace will replace panic, and careful planning will replace survival thinking, allowing you to move forward with clarity rather than desperation. This inner shift is part of the blessing, because true prosperity includes freedom from the anxiety that once followed you like a silent companion. There will be a new rhythm in your daily life, one shaped by security and gratitude instead of worry and tension. Tasks that once felt overwhelming will become manageable, and long postponed goals will finally feel reachable. You may find yourself waking up with a lighter spirit, sensing that the weight you carried for so long has begun to lift in ways you cannot fully explain. This change is not accidental, because God is aligning your environment with the prayers you offered in faith during seasons of hardship. As stability grows, your perspective on giving and receiving will deepen in maturity and balance. You will understand that accepting blessings is not selfish when your heart remains anchored in humility and gratitude. God delights in providing for His children, and He is pleased when they receive His gifts with reverence rather than guilt. The unexpected wealth flowing toward you is a sign of divine care, and it reflects a Father who desires your well-being and not your constant struggle. There may be moments when you look at your life and feel amazed at how different it appears compared to the days when you wondered how you would manage the next responsibility. Allow yourself to feel that amazement without fear, because gratitude honors God and strengthens your faith for the future. Remember that every improvement you witness is rooted in His faithfulness rather than in your own limited strength. The transformation unfolding around you is evidence that heaven responds to persistent trust. Your home will feel different, not only because of increased resources, but because the atmosphere will carry relief and renewed hope. Conversations will shift from survival to possibility, and plans will no longer be shaped by restriction alone. Laughter may return in places where tension once lingered quietly in the background. This emotional renewal is part of the wealth God is sending, because abundance touches the heart before it touches the account. With this increase will come responsibility, and God is gently preparing you to handle it with wisdom and grace. You will feel prompted to seek counsel, to plan carefully, and to remain disciplined even while enjoying the blessing. Prosperity managed without wisdom can slip away, but prosperity guided by discernment grows steadily and securely. The same patience that carried you through waiting seasons will now protect your growth during flourishing seasons. There will also be divine connections forming around you, relationships that align with your new level and support your continued expansion. Some individuals will enter your life with shared values, mutual respect, and opportunities that encourage growth rather than drain energy. These connections are part of the provision, because God often uses people as instruments of favor and partnership. Be attentive to these alignments and approach them with integrity and openness. In quiet moments, reflect on how far you have traveled, because remembrance will keep your heart tender and grateful. The days of struggle were not meaningless, and the lessons learned during those times will serve you well now. You understand the value of every resource, and you do not take stability lightly, because you remember what instability felt like. This awareness will guard you against waste and cultivate stewardship that honors God. There may still be occasional challenges, because no life is completely free from obstacles, yet you will face them from a position of strength rather than scarcity. Confidence will replace fear when unexpected expenses arise, and you will handle them with calm assurance instead of panic. The difference will be clear, not because challenges disappear, but because provision surrounds you more consistently. This stability will allow you to focus on purpose rather than constant survival. God is also shaping your influence, because wealth handled with humility becomes a testimony that encourages others who are still waiting for their breakthrough. Your story will quietly inspire those who see your transformation and recognize the steady hand of divine grace upon your journey. You may not always speak loudly about your blessings, but your peace and generosity will communicate more than words ever could. Type 19119 to receive miracles. Receiving miracles is an act of trust, and trust opens the heart to even greater alignment with God's intentions. The wealth flowing into your life is part of a larger restoration that includes confidence, stability, and renewed hope for the future. Continue nurturing gratitude daily, because gratitude protects joy and keeps your spirit anchored in humility. When gratitude leads your steps, abundance becomes a tool rather than a trap. There will be opportunities to invest, not only financially, but emotionally and spiritually, into projects that reflect your calling. You may feel drawn to support causes that once felt distant or unattainable due to limited resources. This alignment between provision and purpose is not random, but carefully orchestrated by a loving Father who knows your heart. The more you follow that alignment, the more fulfilling your journey will become. As the season of unexpected wealth continues, hold tightly to your identity in Christ, because that identity remains your true foundation. Resources may increase and opportunities may expand, yet your deepest security will always be found in God's presence guiding your path. Wealth is a blessing, but His companionship is the treasure that sustains every blessing. Keep your spirit rooted in prayer and reflection, ensuring that your growth remains balanced and centered. You are stepping into a chapter marked by restoration and forward movement, and it carries the fragrance of answered prayers and faithful endurance. Every tear shed during difficult nights is being exchanged for steady provision and renewed confidence. As this unfolding season matures around you, there will be a sacred realization settling gently into your heart, reminding you that unexpected wealth is not simply a reward, but a responsibility woven into your spiritual growth. God is expanding your territory, not only so you can enjoy comfort, but so you can reflect His goodness in tangible ways that bring light into places once touched by your own hardship. The journey from lack to abundance has carved compassion deep within you, and that compassion will guide how you handle every increase placed into your care. What once felt like private struggle is now becoming public testimony of divine faithfulness and steady love.